Good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to the podcast. Each one, teach 10, an amazing world of STEM, an inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We also will learn together how to build a STEM culture. So today I have Manasi Patil, who is a 15-year-old founder, author, columnist, public speaker, and an avid researcher. She aims to empower the Generation Z and Generation Alpha through her talks and writing. So how are you doing today, Mansi?
Thank you, Namya, for having me here. It's good to be here, and I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good too. So, Mansi, our audience is eagerly waiting to know more about you. So, could you tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I am a 15-year-old multi. I can say I take a passion in a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I like to do. I'm an author. I have written two books as of now. A blogger for various platforms, columnist for Robin Age, which is India's leading newspaper for children. There I work on a column on a series called Space Science. So I research about space and science stuff and write articles based on them. Then I'm also a public speaker and I conduct workshops in schools and organizations. My mission being to empower Gen Z and Gen Alpha. That is something I do through my talks and writings.
That's great to hear. You talked about space science. So, is that a passion that you have since younger days?
Yes, I do. From my early age, I have like two voracious passions, that is reading and space science. Space, it interests me because there are so many things we can learn about astronomy. Because the more you learn about it, the more there is to learn. That is something that intrigues me very much about astronomy.
Right, I actually agree with that because I also have a few astronomy books. When I used to be younger, I used to read some of them. Even now, when I get free time, I love to research about what's happening in the space because it's a vast topic and everybody gets interested when we're supposed to study about it.
That's right. And apart from the scientific theory, there are so many lessons the universe teaches you. For example, the universe is limitless, and that is what it teaches. It teaches us to be limitless. So, like that, there are many practical lessons we can learn.
Right, and that reminds me of another lesson that universe teaches us. Like whatever you say, universe listens it and it comes back. If you start saying that this is not possible, this is impossible, so the universe listens to it and that's how it reacts. But when you believe in positivity and you're saying that I can do it, so the universe listens to it and then you can do it.
That is absolutely right, Nanda.
Yeah. So, Manasi, you're a budding young author, like you said. So, you've written two books along with several blogs, stories, and articles that have been published in newspapers and magazines. So, I'm curious to know that how did it all start?
Well, it all started when my parents and my grandmother, she used to narrate to me tales during whenever I went to sleep. So it all started from there actually. I loved listening to all of those tales and everything. And then as I grew, I started to narrate these tales to them. They were all ridiculous mumbo jumbo tales, but stories nonetheless. So I was a passionate storyteller back since then. And then when I knew how to write, I started constructing again tales, but I used to write them this time when I was about 4 or 5. That is the time I started writing. And then growing up, I always kept a book where I stored my thoughts, my poems, my articles, stories. And now that I see back, I think my writing is stemmed from reading itself, because more than writing, I did a bunch of reading. I do a lot of reading right now, and that is from where my writing has been stemmed. And then it is all like on a journey where, as I write, I discover my new thoughts, and whenever I write, my thoughts gets connected. So that is one of the reasons I write. And then the I never thought of writing a book as such, but last year, I don't know, I just was doing something, and then suddenly I had an instinct. So I just grabbed a notebook and I started writing this little story. and that is how my first book, The Cousin's Crime, it came out to be. So it all
That's
just
great. That's great.
yeah.
Right, go
That
on,
is
please.
actually some sort of a coincidence or an instinct, I can say. And that is another thing where about the universe it comes, I just feel that it was all meant to be, I think, in a sort of a way, because I never thought of writing a book, but it just happened. And now that I started, I'm on this wonderful journey of rediscovering who I am, and what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, that's really influencing, and I want to put a light on a few things. Like you said, that when we read, that's when we learn how to write. So it's also for the people like who are doing creative writings and all. So unless you're not reading, your writing skills would not improve, because this is also the problem that people face when they have to give exams and writing. So when you are reading, you're a good reader. You read something every day, you get more ideas. And when we're writing, and even like amazing authors like you and other people, they all started by just reading few books and then getting their own ideas. And I think that's really wonderful point, that it just pops in your mind. You don't have to watch anybody else to start your own thing. It just comes up that, okay, I want to write a book today. I start researching about it and then I start. So it's never about that you're supposed to follow what the person is doing. You should do what you're doing. And like you said, the universe, similarly, if you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. It's all upon what you do and what you don't do.
That's right. Your writing basically stems from who you are as a person and what you want to express. That is one wonderful thing.
Right, and like you said, you also try to express your feelings. Like if you're having some emotions under you, that you're feeling stressed, so you write those things out, and that helps you to calm down a little bit. And I think that is also one of the reason people write books.
That's right, yes.
Right. So, which is your favorite book then?
Well, I don't have like a certain favorite book because as my mood changes, there are different genres that I prefer reading. But at the most, like most of the time, I'm always inclined to read mysteries or historical fiction. So I would say growing up, Nancy Drew is my favorite. But the one which I can read anytime is Storm and Silence series by Rob Thayer. So they are like a series of 5 to 6 books. The last book is currently being written, but they are based in the late Victorian era, where women. It is based in British. So there in the 90s, women weren't allowed to do many things. They weren't even allowed to ride bicycles or vote. But during that crisis, during that time, the main character of the book, Lillian Linton, she is a brave one. She's one, you know, I love her for the way that she is in the world full of men and dominating men. She struggles to find her own existence, and she dresses up as a man to be a secretary to secure a job. So it is like it's very funny. It's also a comedy book, and I think everyone would love to read it because it's inspiration as well, but not in a boring kind of way. Because I always like it is one of the first book that makes me laugh so hard, just as if I would have been watching a comedy video. So it's inspirational at the same time it's comedy. So Storm and Silence is one of my favorite.
Right, like when you have inspiration, you also need to have another like mode to it. Because if you have only inspiration, sometimes people like say that, okay, I've got much inspiration, I want some other genre as well. So if you have a little bit funny in between, people get more attracted to the book, as like everybody likes to read funny things. So I think funny plus inspiration gives you both joy and motivation in life.
Yeah, that is right. And apart from Storm and Silence, there are so many other books. Harry Potter's there, the
Yes,
Selection
that's my
series.
favorite in nonfiction. In
Yeah.
fiction.
I think like there'll be rarely some teenagers who won't like Harry Potter. I think a very large population likes Harry Potter because they are written in such a way. I don't think anyone would be able to resist those books.
Right. because it's an imaginatory world. Like, if you haven't even seen the movies, it's such a book that you can imagine everything on your own.
Yes, and in that book, person of every kind has a place. So even Draco Malfoy, and he's one of my favorite characters from the Harry Potter series. So he was very misunderstood. So in that book, everyone has a place, and everyone can is able to relate to the books. So there's witty, there's sassy people in there. So there are lot of different people. So it's
Yeah.
relatable to, I think, everyone.
There are just different attitudes and different ways of thinking in life. So, how do you, as an author, use writing every day? Like any particular genres you use over others?
I like to use many different kind of genres, and even though the writings that I showcase, like on this digital platform, are mostly fictional. I write non-fiction very much because I love writing articles also and researching about them. So that is where I use my writing to express my thoughts, because whenever I begin to think of something, they are all scattered thoughts. I can't connect them, I can't relate to them. But when I write them down, it somehow all gets connected, and that is where I use my writing to express myself, to clear my head of what I am thinking. And that just helps me gather everything and find a way out if I'm stuck in a situation. Yeah, so apart from writing for expressing my thoughts, the book, my first book, The Cousin's Crime, it's in the mystery genre. So growing up reading mysteries, I always read the famous five, the five find outers, Nancy Drew, the three investigators, Hardy Boy, Sherlock Holmes. There are so many mystery books that I read, and that is from where my first book, The Cousin's Crime, was initially stemmed. So I like to write, think of mystery plots and then write it down. So that is one genre that I write. I preferably write other than the other genres.
Right, that's great. And talking about like recently, like last year in 2020, I've been reading a lot of Greek mythology and the Egyptian gods. So in form of like Rick Riordan's book, like the Percy Jackson series, Heroes of Olympus, and also some Egyptian god series by Rick Riordan. So I think that's also one of a genre that everybody likes to read.
That's right. Especially the mythologies, and apart from Indian mythologies, there are so many other, like the Greek mythology you mentioned.
Yeah.
Greek mythology is particularly fascinating in the way that they express the situations, and it's all fascinating to read.
Right. So I want to ask you another question now, that as you are aspiring to be a space scientist, how would you encourage a student who claims that they aren't interested in science to rethink their opinion?
Right. So, one of the main reasons why students are like somewhat afraid or intimidated by science is because they have that kind of mindset. Now, if you compare the same scenario while watching movies, for example, more difficult the plot is, the more you seem to like it, and more you seem to be fascinated by it. If it's very easy to conclude or something, you don't like the movie. In a similar way, if science, the more time you need to figure it out, the more interesting it becomes. And the mindset of students today has been set in such a way that they think science is difficult or science is boring. But actually, if you just spend your time with all of the physics and biology, the interesting experiments and everything, it is very fascinating, especially astronomy. Now, I am biased to as the subject of astronomy because I'm a huge space enthusiast. But if I have to speak for astronomy itself, there are so many things the universe teaches you, as I said before. So if you can just spend your time reading about it, you'll be fascinated about it. And if you really look at it that way, all the things happening around you are due to science. So I think you just need to refresh your perspective and stop thinking of science as just a school subject, but instead think of it as a practical subject, the way you deal with things every day. That it is all affected by science. So if we think of it in that way, I think students will be more inclined to science.
Right, and I think practical learning is what we require in today's generation. Because, like you said, the mindset, I totally agree with that. Because people have put these things in the mind that science is not interesting at all. It is so boring. It's a subject that you have to learn everything and then give out the answers. But that's not true at all. Because I have also taken science stream in grade 9. That's just because I love to read about different things in science, and I think basic science is what we require uh, for a child to learn, because everything that we see around, like you mentioned, has science in it. And it's not just science, there are many subjects, and each subject has a correlation with the real life things happening around us. And the most of the thing happen around us because of science. Now, if a young child is explained about a concept in form of a layman's language, so he'll understand. But then if he starts speaking in the scientific language, he'll find it boring. So what we do first is then tell him in a layman's language. When he finds that interesting, then we start with the like proper tough language where they obviously will understand because they got the interest in it.
Yes, you are right there. So, what we can do even now, and in the aspect that you spoke, there are so many YouTube videos, the platforms that explain such things in a very easy kind of way, where with using diagrams and animations, where students will actually find it interesting. But in the end, at the end of the day, it all matters to the students and what they think. So, no matter how easy people make it for them to study, it all comes back to them. So it all depends on students, and their perspective is the thing that matters in finally.
Right, agreed. So, like I asked you about the book first, is there any author that you find very inspirational for your writings?
Well, for different genres, I have different inspiration. But if you think of an author and a person, the most influential person I can think of is Sudha Murthy, because as a person, she is a very humble and yet successful person. And as an author, her stories are very fascinating. So, like about that, as her personality as an author and a human, I like that thing in her, Sudha Murthy. So I think she is one of the most influential authors. But if you ask her only about the writing, then there are so many others. Amish Tripathi, Carolyn Keene. There's no, sorry, I said so. There are so many other authors, but including personality and her writing, I think Sudha Murthy is my biggest influence.
Right, because it doesn't matter what they're writing, but unless like they are feeling that from inside, they're spreading out what they actually do. I think that's what matters. Because if you write something which you aren't actually following in your life, then that is waste of time. Because the authors who write out, they like Sudha Murthy, I totally agree. She's a very humble person, and you learn from those authors, and you get those traits in you as well.
That is right. And following her, like how she spreads what writes what she practices. So that is something I try to do as well through my writings. I try to encourage youth and Gen Z to pursue their dreams. So in that aspect, I find Sudha Murthy very inspiring.
Right. So, what are the three qualities that you think that the student should learn if they want to play a role in the STEM field?
Well, I think the first and foremost uh, quality, or rather practice that they should indulge in, is inquisitiveness, because if you're curious, you'll get all the answers that you want. So I think being inquisitive is one of the crucial things you need to have to pursue a career or pursue an interest in STEM. Then the next thing I would say is patience, because science, though fascinating, it takes some time to for you to understand concepts, because they need time. So you need to have patience to understand it whole and continue till the very end. So inquisitiveness, patience, and of course our reasoning capabilities, because science, it needs a lot of time and it needs a lot of reasoning to be done. So unless and until you are passionate about it, you won't be able to reason out the things. So aside from the reasoning skills, you also need to have a passion for STEM. So I would say the three. I I actually said four, but I think inquisitiveness, patience and reasoning skills, uh, up like and this thing also passion for the subject.
Right, agreed. When you have inquisitiveness, you ask the teacher, you get more engaged. When you have curiosity, you get the urge to learn more. Then you talked about passion. So we all discover our passion and we understand we want to go in the STEM field. You also talked about reasoning skills. I think that is very important for us. And also, like you said about patience, so we all need to have patience to continue learning, because it cannot be like that. You just started in 10 days, you want to reach all the heights. You need to go step by step, and that's how you succeed in life.
Yeah, you put it beautifully.
Thank you. So, where can we find you online so that audience can connect with you?
I'm mostly available on LinkedIn because I think because personally I find LinkedIn a very wide platform to reach out. So I'm there on LinkedIn and Twitter, and I can provide my email address. So
Right.
yeah,
I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the YouTube description box as well as in the Anchor description box.
sure.
So, yep. So before we sign off, we would love to have a message from you for the audience.
Oh yes, definitely. So one thing that I want the audience to go back with, find what your passion is and start working on it, because if you don't work for your dreams today, you'll end up working for someone else's dreams tomorrow. So why not start working for your dreams, working for your passion right from the moment, and not letting age be a barrier, because if you can do something at 8 and you can do something at 80, but what matters really is your passion and your will to do things. So I would say be an eagle, not a raven, because as like an eagle you should have one focus in your life, and you should, like an eagle, even if it is soaring very high, it can see what it wants to, like, from 5 kilometers from above, and it is able to capture that prey. So similarly you should have a focus and you should be willing to work for that, and gain whatever your dream or ambition is. So that, in one, concluding it all in one sentence, be an eagle, not a raven.
That's really great, and that the symbolism level is so good to understand by just explaining that with an eagle and not a raven. So I think that our audience have understood whatever you said today, because your words were so inspirational, and I think they're going to amplify that in their life too. So thank you so much, Manasi, for your precious time and coming on my podcast to share your insights, and thank you everybody for listening to us.
Thank you, Namia, for having me. And it was really insightful and great to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, each one teach 10.